The sun hangs low, a pale gold coin losing its luster. Though the travelers at the river bend haven't noticed. They've laid out bedrolls and started a fire, and the smell of roasting grain cuts through the chill. As they see our blue and gold tabards, the colors of the Regal Hawk, they wave us over with the easy smiles of people who still believe the world is under Thoris's protection. We know the truth of the blood in the dirt, but for now, we have a choice. Accept the warmth, or keep moving through the gathering cold. Okay, so I am back for session 2 of Lordsworn, and let's see how it goes. Last we left off, I created the characters, the Noble Knight, the Crestfallen Hero, the Occultish Oracle, we have the Criminal Conscript, and then we also have the Creed Guard. So I have all 5 of those because I'm playing solo. So it's time to draw the spotlight, as it were. So I shuffled the cards already for my 5 lords, and then I have to draw 3. So these are the characters who will actively handle this encounter. So yeah, I have the 5 cards. I'm just gonna pick randomly. 1, 2, 3. So I got the king, a 7, and the ace. So 7 of hearts is the Noble Knight. And then we have the king of... oh, it's the king of hearts. No, this is the king of spades. Do I have the wrong card? No, the Creed Guard. Oh my gosh. I don't play cards, you guys. And then I have the ace of spades. So that is the Occultish Oracle. So those are the 3 I'm bringing out. I'm going to mark it so I don't forget. So king of spades, the Creed Guard. Okay, so again, just to refresh my memory, week 1, the events are unaware and panicked. The journey begins as a bittersweet contrast to the harrowing battlefield. The land shudders, but is not reeling yet from the death of gods and the shedding of so much blood. People are still humane, wanting to assist where they can, and death seems a faraway fear for your Lordsworns. The kerning is really bad in the writing here. Is it kerning? Yeah, it's the space between the characters. It is super bad. I'm wondering if it's just me. But they're all squeezed together. It's hard to discern the words here. It's really bad. But okay, so we have week 1. Okay, so it looks... I think I prepared the event already. Yep. Okay, and then next is the opening narration. Spotlight, sorry. So, solo games, draw 3, done. And I drew Fable Hartwell, the Creed Guard, a legendary bodyguard whose failure to protect his god still haunts him. Then I have Nexier Salty, the Tenebrous. She is a former seer whose vision of the gods of death was so traumatic it stripped away their oracular powers. And then we have Athalos Gallant, the Noble Knight, a paragon of chivalry struggling to keep his ideals from scattering like ash. So those are the 3 that will be dealing with this situation. It's not really a situation. They are helpful from what I rolled before. Yeah. This event 1 prompt helpful traveler settling into camp. So, opening narration. With this scene established and the spotlight determined, the Lordsworns discuss how they wish to handle the event before them, narrating what they might be thinking of doing. Each player will state how their lord acts or interacts with the event and each other, how they might be helping one another or doing their own tasks. Do not hesitate to add elements to the Lord's backstory, including the existing bonds between Lords and the Spotlights. Remember that the company has already been through a lot together. So, the opening narration. We sit by their fire. The smell of bread and wood smoke is thick in the air. Fable's hand rests near his blade and his eyes fixed on the flames. Nexira remains silent, the shadows of what was seen still clinging to her, and Athalos maintains a rigid, chivalrous posture, though the golden light of the fire seems to highlight the dirt on his armor. We share their meal, knowing the sun they still worship is dead. We accept the warmth, but the silence between us is the heaviest thing in the camp right now. So next we will move to the resolution phase. Let's see, okay, so to see how we navigate this encounter and what it costs us. So we're gonna roll those dice pools. So let's see how it works. It uses a hidden 3d4 resolution system. Each player rolls 3d4 and keeps the results hidden from one another, assigning values not only to their own lord, but also to those of other players. Okay, but this is a solo game, so roll 3d4, assigning 3 values to one lord. Repeat the process until all 3 lords in the spotlight have been assigned a set of values. Okay, so it looks like I have to roll 3d4 3 times. So each player chooses a resolution table for each d4 value assigned to their lord. These 3 tables are success, wounds, and morale. Success represents how well the event pans out, whether your individual lord actions succeed, and if your collective efforts result in a positive or negative outcome. If there are more total failures than successes, the company will have to roll on the event failure table on the next page. Wounds represent the wounds sustained by that lord during this event, with the table to roll on the next page as well. Lastly, morale represents the event's impact upon the company's morale. Okay, so roll 3d4, assigning the 3 values to one lord. Repeat the process until all 3 lords have been assigned a set of values. Okay, so what I was doing before, because I'm using 3ddice.com, it automatically puts all the dice in numerical order, and that's the list that I was following. But this time I'm going to be looking at how the dice land on the screen instead of reading the numerical value in the bottom corner. So this is going to be I'm gonna have some notes open so I just remember what I rolled. So I'm rolling for the noble knight, and to see what he gets. The noble knight's values. Okay, so on the screen I have 3, 2, and 1, which is how the dice. So 3, 2, 1. And then I also have the oracle. Let's see what she gets. I have 3, 3, 3. Oh, wow. Interesting. And then I have, finally, we have Fable, I believe. Fable is the Creed Guard. And that is 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1 again, dang. Okay, so. Oh, wow. So if I'm reading, so for the Noble Knight, I rolled 3, 2, 1. So basically that is success, 1 wound, and -1 morale. So I guess I rolled that twice. But I need at least 2 successes across the 3 characters to succeed. If we get 2 more failures, the event is failed and we must roll on the event failure table. So, and then for the second roll, I rolled 3, 3, 3. So that is success, 0 wounds, and 0 more. Oh, that is like, if you roll 4, 4, 4, it's like a critical success. 3, 3, 3 is not bad either. It's like middle of the road. Nice. And then for the third roll, same thing. I think overall this is a good first roll for week 1. So we have 3 successes total. The company morale goes down to 6. Fable takes a wound. Now, narratively, I don't know how he takes a wound. Maybe he gets burned by the fire. I don't know. But I will cross off that wound. And Athelos gets a wound as well. Now morale is at 6. So we can skip the wounds. Oh, okay. Let's see. Wounds. Lordsworns can endure 2 wounds, but when they suffer a third, their card is removed from the game, and they will not be in the spotlight for the rest of the journey home phase. The player is free to choose detail the precise fate of the Lord. Remember, if there are less than 3 total remaining Lords, the company is broken and immediately moves to the epilogue phase. Whenever a Lord suffers a wound, roll 3d4 and assign the values of the tables below. Describe how this wound changes your Lord and consider how it impacts them in the future. Okay, so I'm going to roll for Fable Hartwell, the Krieg Guard, because he did get a wound. One, 2. So it is head, severe, and extremely painful. And then I got 1, 2. Oh my god. Look at me rolling the same exact rolls multiple times. They both got head, severe, and extremely painful. Okay. So we did the wounds, and now there's closing narration. Players narrate how the events resolved, interpreting the results from the resolution tables, explaining why the company's morale improved, narrating what happened to a Lord suffering a wound, describing how they achieved their objectives, etc. Players can also add a role-playing element to the different values they assign to the other Lords. The event is now complete. Lords that were in the spotlight and survived are placed in the discard pile, with any that didn't being removed from play entirely. The company, if it is not broken, now moves to the next event. So what happened narratively? How did they get these wounds? They tried to help them. They braced a heavy wagon wheel. It had slipped in the mud near the fire. Under the old order of Thoris, the wood would have been strong and straight, but the world is growing brittle, it seems. The axle snapped. The splintered wood severed the top of Fable's ear. It whipped across Athelos' brow, opening a deep and extremely painful gash. We see Fable's balance is a little shaky now. He has his constant ringing in his ears. It's making it harder for him to track movement. Athelos has to fight to keep his vision clear through the throbbing in his skull, and the wound on his forehead seems to refuse to scab over. And so we head back on to the road to Helmville with 2 of our strongest members bloodied and dazed. So, set them to the discard pile. So the other 2 will get used no matter what. Let's go for the next prompt. We're going to roll 3d4 to generate the second event. Okay. Right? Okay, so the company, if it's not broken, now moves to the next event, returning to step 1. Okay. Okay, each week will be marked by 2 events, with these events progressively becoming more dire and deadly as the world around you crumbles in response to the cataclysm and the death of so many gods. Text. The company then goes through 5 steps described. Once the event is done, the company will move to that week's second event, and then on to the next week. Okay, gotcha. So there's 2 events in each week. Okay, so just wanted to double check that. So we're not in panicked and desperate yet. That's week 2. We're still in week 1. We have to roll the 3d4. Unaware and panicked. I guess we did unaware before. Let's do panicked, right? Yeah, 3d4. Let's do it. So that is 4, 2, 4. So it could be the entity is beasts, guarded, 4, 2, 4, and praying. Or it could be nobles, anxious, rescuing. Rescuing anxious nobles, or fighting a beast. 2, 4, beast, guarded beast praying. Let's do guarded beast praying. So we have the opening narration. So, spotlight. So we have the spotlight. So we'll use 2 that we didn't use before, and then we'll grab 1 of the 3 that we did use in the last one. So we have the King of Hearts and the 3 of Spades. That's the only 2 that weren't used. So that is the Crestfallen Hero and the King of Hearts, which is the Criminal Conscript. That's Peregrine Claremont. And then we have Damon the Anointed. And then I'm going to pull 1 of the 3. Shuffle, shuffle. Going to pull from the bottom. And that is 7 of Hearts. So that is the Noble Knight. So, opening narration. The path ahead leads us toward a crumbling wayside shrine of Thoris. And this once bright gold leaf is peeling from the stone like dead skin, and we stop short when we see them. A pack of mountain wolves and a trio of great stags are standing together in the clearing, and they aren't fighting. These creatures, they're like bowed in a silent, almost terrifyingly human posture of prayer. And the beasts are guarded, and they're watching us with wide, intelligent eyes. And we feel like intruders in a sanctuary. And Athelos wipes a smudge of his blood off of his severed brow. And the air is making his wound throb. Damon searches the clearing for a sign, anything to help, but only finds the silence of the animals. And we have Peregrine. She stays low, her hand resting on the hilt of her blade, and her eyes are darting between the predators and the prey that have found a common cause. In grief, it's all very strange. We stand at the edge of the clearing, wondering if we should join the prayer or keep moving through the quiet. An odd feeling, of course. So let's see what happens. I'm going to roll 3d4 again for each of the lords. We have Athelos, Damon, and Peregrine. So once we have those dice, I'm going to allocate them to see if we can pass this event without losing more morale or suffering more wounds. This game is like deadly. 3d4 is like, I'm not sure how I feel about 3d4. It's the sharpest of the dice. Okay. That is 2, 3, 2. Okay, so that is Noble Knight. 2, 3, 2. And then we're going to roll for Peregrine. They're kind of placed weird on each other. But 1, 4, 1. Oof, I already know that's bad. So it looks like the higher the better with this game. Okay, so then we have 2, 3, and 1. Ooh, that's 3 failures. 1 and 2 is failure. I already memorized that. Oh my god, this is going to be interesting. Okay, so not the best rolls for the second event in the first week. Our Noble Knight, Athelos Gallant, I rolled 2, 3, 2, which is a failure. 0 wounds, but -1 morale. The agony in his head makes him clumsy. He tries to kneel, but his armor clatters against the stone. It startles the beasts, and it breaks the silence. We have Damon the Anointed. And I rolled 2, 3, 1 for Damon, which is failure, 0 wounds, and -1 morale. For him, seeing the wolves offer devotion he no longer feels capable of as a hero is a bitter pill to swallow. And he stands there frozen, unable to join in. And he feels the weight of his lost status. And then we have Peregrine Claremont, where I rolled 1, 4, 1. So again, a failure, 0 wounds, and -1 morale. She keeps her distance, hands on her weapon, on her daggers, you know. To her, this isn't sacred, it's a trap waiting to spring, and her cynicism keeps her safe from harm, but it isolates her further from the company. Our event overall failed. The company morale goes down to 3. And I don't believe, maybe I did well on the wound side of things. Nobody got wounds, fortunately. But morale did go down, I think, for absolutely everybody. So that is a -3. So we only have 3 morale left. Nobody got wounds, but the event did fail. So when an event is failed, there are more failures than successes. The company rolls a d4 to determine any additional repercussions. So we want a 3 or a 4. So I'm going to roll 1d4. And that's a 2. 1 wound to each lord in the spotlight. Wow. Brutal. No wounds, at least. Oh, wait, no, we did get wound. I forgot everybody got a wound. Okay, so Damon gets 1. The noble knight gets another. And the criminal conscript, Peregrine, gets her first one. Oh, not that roll. I meant to roll 3d4. So this is going to be for the noble knight. What is the second wound that he gets? Oh, I keep rolling 1. No, 3d4. There we go. 4, 4, and 1. So we got legs, flesh wound for life. How complicated it is. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, so this is for the criminal, Peregrine. We got 2. Oh, sorry. That is 4, 2, 4. That is also legs, bad, and barely noticeable. Okay. Oh, she kind of got off easy a little bit. There we go. And then we have Damon the Anointed. This is the crestfallen hero. This is his first wound. Oof, the noble knight is almost out of here. He's getting beat up. Okay, that's 2, 2, 3. That is torso, bad, and you can walk it off. Okay, cool. I mean, that's all just kind of flavoring though, because if, let's say you could walk it off, barely noticeable. Mechanically, it doesn't mean anything. I could still get 3 wounds, and I could get 3 wounds worth of barely noticeable and still get out of the game. So with Athelos, Gallant, a stag's, the clearing is now a chaotic blur of panicked power as the great stags bolt through our line. We are battered and bloodied, standing among the grass of this kind of weird, desecrated sanctuary. Athelos, a stag's hoof, caught him squarely in the legs. While it's technically a flesh wound, but the impact twisted his knee in a way that will haunt him for life. So there's that. So now he walks with a permanent hitch in his side. And then we have Peregrine. She took a bad gash to her legs from a stone as she dived for cover. So, in typical fashion, she has bound it so tightly that the injury is barely noticeable to the others. But you see slight blood is kind of beginning to soak through. And then we have Damon the Anointed, his first wound. He slammed into the stone altar, taking a bad blow to his torso. The wind was knocked out of him, and his ribs are likely cracked, but With the adrenaline coursing through him, he finds he can walk it off for now. And that is the end of week 1. The end is bittersweet. We have the closing narration. We leave the clearing in silence. The bittersweet contrast of the first week has curdled as we limp further from the battlefield. The ground beneath us lurches frequently. It's like the world is finally realizing and waking up to the death of our gods. Hope is now flickering. It's still burning, but it's bright. Okay, let's continue on to week 2. So we have week 2. The events are panicked and desperate. So the winds speak of change, and the ground beneath you lurches more frequently, as I said, as the world starts to wake up to the death of multiple gods in the cataclysm. Its effects begin to take root deeper, humanity beginning to turn inwards to weather the oncoming storm. And hope is now a flickering yet still burning candle. So that's week 2, panicked and desperate. So I will roll for panicked, and then I will roll for desperate. Our morale is at 3 out of 8. Okay, let's choose our 3d4 for this panicked event. We have 4, 3, 4. So that could be beasts, scared, praying, or 4, 3, 4, nobles, leery, rescuing. Yeah, let's go with that. We already did a beast one. Some nobles. Okay, so then we have to do the spotlight. So I'm going to shuffle once again. I could choose, oh God, hopefully I don't choose the noble knight, because if he takes one more wound, he's out of here. I'm shuffling now. Looking. 1, 2, 3. I hope I hope a 7 of hearts is not in here. First flip. Okay, King of Spades. That is the Creed Guard, Fable Hartwell. Flip 2. 7 of hearts. Oh no, our noble boy. Oh, that kind of makes sense. He would join in. Third flip. 3 of spades. That is the crestfallen hero. Damon is also here. We got Damon, Athelos, and Fable. Okay. Next is the opening narration. Scene established, spotlight determined. How do we wish to handle the event? What is the event? The ground beneath our feet, it lurches again as the world continues its slow awakening to the death of our sun. And we emerge from a thicket to find a gilded carriage. And it is splattered with mud, it's missing a wheel. It is wedged deep into a fissure in the road. A group of nobles are huddled together, and we could see their fine silks are torn and stained. They are leery. They are watching our approach with wide, suspicious eyes. They have seen a lot of soldiers turn into bandits in these last few days. But we are going to rescue them, or at least try to. So pulling them from the wreckage as the smell of the damp earth kind of hangs in the air. Athelos, despite the agonizing limp in his leg and that gash on his brow, he tries to offer this knight's reassurance, but his armor is very bloody, maybe too bloody to look noble at this moment. Fable keeps a sharp eye on the surrounding tree line. His severed ear is still ringing, and Damon stands by the carriage door, and his face still looks of forlornness, and realizing that these people are waiting for a hero that no longer exists. And then so we go into the resolution phase. I imagine that if I was playing with other players, all of this would actually be stretched out a little bit longer, but solo, things move a lot faster. So I'm going to roll 3d4 for each of the lords, Daemon, Athelos, and Fable, and let's see how this goes. Okay, here we go. So we got Daemon, we got Athelos, our knight. Let's just roll for him first. He is like almost out of here. Okay. Oof, we don't want a 1 or a 2 for him. Let's go. Oh. Oh no. That is 2, 2, and 1. Oh. Wow. Failure, 1 wound, and -1 morale. Okay, let's do Daemon the Anointed next. 1, 3, 1. That is a failure, 0 wounds, and -1 morale. Our morale is about to be broken. This is going to be a quick game, everybody. And then, last but not least, we have Fable. That is 3, 2, 3. Okay. I still think we have more failures than successes. So that was 3, 2, 3. So that is a success, 1 wound, and -1 morale. 0 morale loss. Okay, but we did lose 2 morale. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Oh, I just realized that Fable, I rolled a 2. He also got 2 wounds. Fable is out as well. That is the King of Spades. Fable and the Noble Knight are out. I now only have 3 lords left. Once I get to less than 3, we automatically skip to the epilogue, which will likely happen if I go through another event. We either lose all morale or we'll lose a hero, a lord. That is definitely going to happen in the next one, if not now, because I did lose. So there was 1 success versus 2 failures. We failed, so we have to roll on the event failure table. If I roll a 1, that's -2 morale. We'll be completely out of morale. Our morale is already down to 1. So let's roll on the event failure table and see what happens. That is a 2. That's 1 wound to each lord in the spotlight. So the other ones are already out. So that means Daemon is going to get another wound. So Daemon now has 2 out of 3. So what does that look like narratively? As they were trying to help out, but as the carriage, it groans and settles into this widening fissure in the earth, Athelos Gallant is pinned beneath the frame. And this knight is now a broken man in the monk. His legs are crushed beyond any hope of recovery. We have Fable Hartwell as well. He was the legendary Creed Guard. He lunged forward to haul him out, but the splintering wood caught him across the chest and neck. And he got 2 wounds that are deep and ragged. Coupled with his previous injury, Fable's legendary resistance finally snapped as he collapsed beside the wreckage. His breathing is shallow and wet. And Daemon stands there, paralyzed, his hand shaking as he stares at his fallen comrades. In the chaos of the failure, a panicked horse kicked back, catching him squarely in the ribs, and you can hear that sharp crack of bone. And he's now carrying 2 wounds, and the weight of being the only hero left standing. We are no longer a company. We are a collection of bleeding, dazed survivors. And we watch the sun and we realize that we are down to our last spark of hope. Company morale, I only have 1 out of 8. Athelos and Fable are removed from future spotlights. Damon has 2 out of 3 wounds. Peregrine has 1. Nexier has 0. So if we lose 1 more Lordsworn, then we will have fewer than 3 total members and the company will be broken, and then we'll immediately move into the epilogue. So I'm going to say that Athelos and Fable, these wounds and being crushed so badly, the mud of the fissure has claimed them. They are gone now, and the world is colder for losing them. They are buried. Athelos' sword is driven into the earth. Well, his warhammer, actually. Fable's shield rests beside him. The Regal Hawk company is now 3. Peregrine, Nexier, and Damon. A thief, a hollowed oracle, and a hero who has forgotten how to lead. They are the last ones to carry the memory back to Helmville. So we are still in week 2, panicked and desperate. We have no choice but to keep moving. The air is thickening with the smell of ozone, and the panic of the world is becoming this physical weight. So now we are completely desperate. And I'm going to generate the next encounter. So I'm going to roll 3d4 and see what we get. We got 2, 3, 2. That is cleric. So if I go back to the events table, we are desperate. Okay, so desperate, we have 2, 3, 2. So it's God Mourners, Feral, and Attacking. Or Crusading Zealots, Hungry, Challenging. I think God Mourners is very interesting. So we have God Mourners, and they're feral, and they are attacking. And because we only have 3 lords left, Peregrine, Nexier, and Damon, they're automatically in the spotlight. So, the opening narration. The road to Helmville is no longer a path. It is more like a gauntlet. We hear them before we see them, a rhythmic guttural howling that sounds nothing like a prayer. A mob actually, of God Mourners, right? They spill from the tree line. Their eyes are hollow, their skin stained with ash. They are feral, and their fingers are curled into claws and their teeth bared. They see our blue and gold, the colors of the sun, and they scream. They aren't looking for comfort or explanation. They are attacking us, and they're driven by the mindless conviction that if Thoris the Golden is dead, those who wore his mask should follow him into the dirt. We are tired, we are bleeding, and there is no one left to hide behind. We are at 1 morale. If we don't gain morale here, or if we lose any, the company breaks. If Damon takes 1 more wound, the company falls below 3 members and we move to the epilogue. So, time to roll 3d4 for each of our remaining lords. So if I roll a 1 for any of these, morale instantly lost. 1 or 2, actually. So we have 4, 2. Oh, that's 4, 2, 1. I thought it was a 4. 4, 2, 1, 4. So we're rolling for Peregrine. She has 1 wound. And I rolled 4, 2, 1 for her. Next we have Nexier. I'll just roll all of them and then we'll see. Calculate it all after. It's not looking good, folks. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's also bad. I mean, we're done. But let's just, I'll roll for all of them. That is 4, 3, 4. Wait a minute. I mean, we lost morale. It's bad. Wait, we lost morale and then we gained +1. I just rolled a 4. Hold on. Okay, let's just see how it works. Damon. I rolled 4, 2, 4. I don't know. I think the math is going to come out so that all our morale is lost, because 2 of them lost 2 morale, and then I gained 1. So it still comes out as a negative. Peregrine gains a wound. Nexier has gained a wound as well. And then Damon didn't... Oh, Damon gained a wound too. 4, 2, 4. Yep. Not only did we... all our morale is gone, but we also lost Damon. We got 2 successes. We repelled the feral god mourners and kept them from, desecrating what remains of our company. But our final morale is at 0. We started at 1, and the combined, we have -1, -1, and +1. That extinguishes the last spark of hope, and the company breaks. Morale is at 0. Damon has suffered his 3rd wound, and with his fall, the Regal Hawks are down to only 2 active members. And the rule says if there are less than 3, or if morale hits 0, the company is broken, and we immediately move to the epilogue phase. So, the god mourners, they swarmed us like locusts. Damon, the hero who had lost his destiny, found it one last time in this brawl, and he threw himself into the center of the mob. His blade is a blur, and it held them back long enough for Peregrine and Nexier to regroup. He secured their path, but as the last of the feral cultists fled into the trees, he fell to his knees, a jagged, rusted blade buried deep into his side. We see Nexier, she tried to reach him, but she was doubled over, clutching her own wound from the onslaught. And Peregrine stood over them both, her breathing ragged. She looked at the road ahead, back at her broken companions. Their blue and gold is now stained with blood and mud. The symbol of the hawk is now unrecognizable. They didn't make it to Helmville. So, because the company is broken, we now move to the epilogue. So we have to determine the final fate of our survivors and the legacy of our journey. Okay. The epilogue phase begins under 2 different circumstances. The company successfully makes it home, or the company breaks and broke. So, we have, if you have successfully made the journey home, choose or roll from one of the 4 saved endings. If the company broke, you will choose or roll from one of the 4 forgotten endings. Then roll 3d4 and assign 1 value to each of the aspects to inspire the epilogue to your stories. Okay, so we forgotten, so I'll roll 1d4. And that is 3. So the Godless. Your fragile lives are forgotten by the wider world. Perhaps you live still, sheltered somewhere, alone or with the survivors of your company. Or, more likely, you lie in an unmarked grave. While your company may be unremembered by most, the world moves on. What is its future? The Godless. Months go by without a single message from the gods. Years go by and still the priests cannot hear their voices. The pantheon echoes hollowly, and the gods are truly dead. So we are at the Godless here. I'm going to roll the 3d4. So the first question. You have returned home to a city in mourning. Tension is thick in the air. The silence of the gods, a deafening hum in everyone's ears. In this unholy quiet, how has your home adjusted? Okay, gonna roll a d4. 2. It's been difficult. The gods may not answer our prayers. The faithful sing, but they may still return one day. One does not rush a seed, they pray. In the absence left behind the vacant or dead gods, the people look to something new. something to guide them. You all carry with you the last vestiges of your god. Do you bring the hope they need? A small part. Some see the flickering embers of your god in you and your company actions, but still many find your stories a reminder of how you all failed them and their god. I mean, true, but dang. In the void of meaning and the radical restructuring of everything, the bonds of fellowship still hold tight. Or do they? Does your company stay together as comrades, or shatter apart like so many ideals? Now, I could roll or choose. What I'm going to choose is family. Either company, reforged, or family, but I like family. I think the two girls who made it out are still together. They went through a lot. So Nexier and Peregrine are still together, more like family. You are more than a company of soldiers, and doubt any of you could survive long apart, huddled around a flickering flame of the old world. As a brave new world is born, you find comfort in the faint familiarity that is each other. Oh my god, you guys, I think I read the wrong one. I think I read the Forgotten, didn't I? No, the Godless. You returned home to a city in mourning. Tension is thick. Okay. And so this concludes the journey of the Regal Hawks in Lordsworn. In solo mode, this game is rather quick. I think it could be done in one session. Absolutely. I played it in 2, but it could definitely be played in one session in like a couple hours. It's very quick in that way. Solo mode, what are my thoughts on it? Very deadly. Not sure how much I like the D4. I'm not sure Caltrop Core is for me. I also like opportunities to fight back, to have some type of armor or an ability to like get a health potion or something, you know. I don't like the games where you're gonna die no matter what and there's nothing you can do because it's in the mechanics where you are likely to roll a 1 or a 2, which is really bad. And on the D4, it like makes it very easy to get that 1 and 2. So maybe if it was like a D8 or a D10 or something, and you have like better odds, but the odds are against your favor, I guess, in this D4 Caltrop Core mechanics. And so probably it's not for me. But I can see how people could really like this. I think it's very vibe heavy. You do really get the that feeling of the world has ended and the loss of hope and your god's dead and all that. It's very I think it can be very cinematic. I think it does. I actually prefer this over group play. I think it could be a very personal type story that you can tell. It went by quick though. And I think this is like a great one shot. I can't see this going. I don't think it's made for that anyway. I think this is like a quick kind of soulful game you can play in one night. Replayability. I think it does have replayability. But just know that the odds are very high that you will not get home. So that's the only thing. I don't really know if I vibe well with the Caltrop Core. But you know, very interesting story. I really like the themes with every Lordsworn. It's very interesting to read all the ones that I did at least. There are 26 and I only read 5 of them because those are the ones I played. But those are my final thoughts. I think this was a fun little experiment, a little different game to play. And now I will get back to my Dolmenwood game where I had to run away. But this was fun. I'm trying to think if I would recommend it. If you don't mind the Caltrop Core mechanics, I would say you would have a really fun time. And then it's pretty deadly though, and just be prepared to probably die before you get home, which is a very, very high possibility. But yeah, that was Lordsworn. If you listened, if you watched, I hope you had a good time listening. It's very, narrative heavy in my opinion. So hopefully you just had a good time while this was on in the background maybe. But yeah, that is Lordsworn. Thanks for watching.